Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel.
What are you doing?
Shooting a video.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Are you not trying to inspire people?
Yeah.
Are you not trying to motivate people?
Yes.
Are you not trying to get people to, be more,
I already said yes,
out there?
but I have exams, assignments.
Yeah, I understand you had exams, but here, take this. Wear this, rather. Thank you. I like this. Okay, you got some taste.
Now I can begin my video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Danielle Bashiri, and I'm happy to be back with you guys. Sorry for not producing any videos this past 2 months. I've been busy with exams and finals and assignments. It's just been like really crazy. But I did want to end off the Diaspora Dialogue series, and I was thinking of ways to do it, and I was kind of thinking and brainstorming, and I realized that I just started with like what I started off with in the beginning. So in the beginning, when I started this series, I was reading the book of Nehemiah with my church, and as I was reading the book of Nehemiah, I was like, wow, like Nehemiah just seems like such a character in the Bible that kind of depicts what a person in the diaspora needs to do, or the type of heart we should have for our people back where we're from. And so I thought, what a better way of ending this series but then actually going through different things in the book of Nehemiah. So I hope you enjoy this. Please like, please subscribe, and let's go on the journey and learn more about Nehemiah. Now we're going to journey through the book of Nehemiah just really briefly and just kind of pick out from his character, what is it can we learn from Nehemiah, right? So I took some notes in my journal, and this is my Bible. It's a bit rusty, but that's how you know it's being used. So I took some notes. Hopefully you have your Bible as we go along, but Nehemiah basically was a character in the Bible that he was part of the exile, like the Israelites that were exiled to Babylon, right? During the time of like Nebuchadnezzar and all of that. When he got to Babylon, he served there for quite a while, and he got to a point where he was the king's cupbearer, which meant that before the king was to drink anything, he had to like taste it for him before that. So it's a very interesting job that he had, but he had a position of privilege basically because he was so close to the king. Working in the king's palace, right? This is very important because I think that a lot of us, God puts us in a position of privilege in the sense whereby in the diaspora, and we have this really great job, or God just blessed with different things that kind of enable us to be like a helper for other people. So the first thing that I learned about Nehemiah is that he was told that his home country, the walls of his home country was completely destroyed. And when he heard this news, he wept. So that's the first thing. Nehemiah was moved by what was happening in his home country. He could have just been like, I'm in Babylon now. Like, I work for the king. I'm in the palace. Like, what does that have to do with me, right? But he was moved by what was happening in his home country. He was so moved that he wept, and he prayed and he fasted. So if you look in chapter 1 verse 4, it says that he prayed and he fasted for his country because he was grieved by the fact that his country was not protected, because in that time the wall that surrounded the borders of your city, of your country, that's what kind of protected you from invaders or anything like that. So like I think we should be that way too. When we hear about different things happening in our home country, we shouldn't just be like, oh well, I'm not there, whatever, but we should also be moved by it. We should also take it to God and fast and pray. The second thing that I liked about Nehemiah is that that's the first thing he did. The first thing he did is that he brought it to God. He prayed about it because he knew that like he couldn't do anything without God's help. So that's something I want to encourage us. Like we need to bring our ideas on that to God first before we start executing it, because God needs to lead us in the way that we want to help people so we can be the most effective, right? The third thing that I learned about him is that although he was in a position of privilege, being like the king's cupbearer, he could have easily just like gone and asked the king for a request, but he waited. He waited on God to give him the courage and the sign for him to then go and ask the king. So he waited on God's timing to do something, which is very important, because a lot of times we can get an idea, we just want to go for it, even after praying about it, but we also need to know that we need to wait for God's timing so that we are the most effective in what we want to do. Finally, he got the opportunity and he went to the king. The king saw that he was just looking sad. He was looking sad. The king asked him, like, what's going on? Like, why are you sad? And that's when he got the opportunity to tell the king about what's happening to his city. And he told the king, saying, hey, like the walls are like damaged, like people can just come and like destroy my people, like I'm really grieved by this. Is there any way that you could help? And the king, you know, because he prayed, I believe it's because he prayed and because he waited on God, the king, God opened up the king's heart to be giving towards Nehemiah. And so the king actually was like, hey, like what can I do for you? What do you need? Like he didn't even have to ask the king. The opportunity came to him. And that's one thing that's just really important. Like a lot of times when we give these things to God, like God's gonna open up those doors and we won't even have to go seeking. You know, just come to us, be like, somebody would just be like, hey, what do you need? I can help you. And it's like, whoa, like that's crazy. Whereas like, and if you didn't wait on God, maybe you'd have to be searching for different things, different resources. So the king asked him, hey, like what is it you need? Tell me, like I'll help. It's in chapter 2, around verse 10, right? He started telling the king what he needed. He's like, hey, like I need resources to go and build the walls of my city. Like give me help me with the resources, and also give me like a note that will help me like pass all these different borders so that nobody tries to stop me as I go on and do this. And by the grace of God, the king said yes, and the king gave him everything that he asked for. That was very moving for me, because it's like the resources came to him because he waited on God. So the sixth thing I learned about Nehemiah. So when he finally got the go ahead, he went to his city, right? He went to his city, and when he was there, he didn't immediately start like doing the work. When he got there, the first thing that he did is he started examining the wall in silence. And this is in also in chapter 2. So he didn't tell anyone. He didn't tell the kings. He didn't tell the officials of his city. He didn't tell anyone. He went there first. He went to scout out the situation for himself, because it's one thing him hearing the news from other people, but it's another thing him seeing it for himself and him actually like being able to put 2 and 2 together. So I think that's very important. Like when we want to go back to our countries and we want to make a difference, we should travel there first and see things for ourselves, right? We should be able to go there and see what do people really need, because a lot of times people bring help to countries, but it's not even the help that their country needs, because we just hear about situations rather than understanding the true need of people. So I think that's very important, because Nehemiah went to his city and he was silent. He didn't tell anyone at first. He was just looking around, looking at the situation, seeing like what was needed and what the people really need. And he started informing people about what he found, and he started bringing solutions. So after he scouted out the situation, he went ahead and started now telling the people like, hey, like this is what I found, this is what I saw. So it wasn't based on secondary source, it was based on primary source. I think that's so important, because he saw it for himself, and then he was able to go and convince people, hey, like this is what I saw. Our walls are damaged. We need a wall. We need to build a fortress that will protect us from that will fortify the city. So after he did that, he started encouraging people to, hey, come let's join hands together and build this border, and build this border properly so that our city can be fine. So that's the second or third thing that I learned. Firstly, he told people, then he said, come, let's do it together. He didn't try to do it on his own. That is so important, especially for us Africans in the diaspora. Like a lot of times we want to do things on our own. We want to go, but like we need people. We need people to come together, especially if we want to create a change that's going to be effective, that's going to propagate through generation to generation. We need to come together in community and do it with the people on the ground, especially the people who are going to benefit the most from that change. We need to call those community leaders. We need to call those people, hey, this is my solution. This is what I saw. This is my solution. Let's come together and let's bring about this solution. So I think that's so important. That's so important. And then the third thing that we can learn from Nehemiah, or the third thing that he did once he got to his city, is that he noticed that there were some people that were mocking him. Like there were people like, nah, man, you want to fortify the city? Nah, like what you talking about? Like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So there was a people that that will always happen. Even now, like you might have a dream right now, and there's probably people out there laughing and be like, nah, man, like what you want to do that, you small you. But you know, the same thing happened to you know, several people in the Bible. It's like you don't expect good things to come from people from a certain place, but hey, God chooses those people to do amazing work. So yeah, like he didn't listen to these people. That's the third thing we learned that he did when he got there. He got opposition, but he didn't listen. He stood firm on God's promises for him. He knew that God didn't bring him that far to leave him. So yeah, there were some people who didn't agree. Yeah, there were some people who thought that idea was stupid. Yeah, there were some people who didn't have as much faith as him. Some people who couldn't see, he couldn't believe that, oh, look how much work needs to be done. It can never be done by this amount of people. But But he didn't listen. Nehemiah didn't listen. Nehemiah was just like, you know what? He always went back to God and was like, God, like, I believe in your promises. This is what you told me, and this is what I'm gonna hold on to. The fourth thing that he did when he got to his city is that he started delegating roles to people. So back to the whole community thing, he didn't try to take it up on himself. You know, God did give him the vision, God did give him the provision, but he knew that he needed to do with people, and in order to do with people, he needed to be organized as well. So he started delegating roles to different people. Different families had to build different part of the wall that they were fortifying their city. I think that's very important because we need to invite people in, but also give them responsibility, also give them leverage in order to accomplish the mission together. Going on to like chapter 4. He gets more opposition. Now it's not only from the people within, but it's also from people without. So that's something that we can always expect when we have ideas. Like, people are not going to always be happy with it, especially people who are not going to benefit from what we're doing. So think about us going back to our countries and starting these initiatives. It might be people on the outside from different countries, or from maybe opposing organizations that will not like it because you're going to be cutting their profits or something like that. So we need to be prepared for that. And something that we can learn from what Nehemiah is, Nehemiah always he resorted back to prayer and fasting, and he told people, hey, don't lose heart, don't give up. Don't give up. God gave us his promise and we're going to fulfill it. And yeah, there's people coming against us, but hey, like, God didn't bring us this far to leave us. So I thought that was very, very important, because a lot of times you'll have a dream, you'll tell it to the wrong people, and I think there's this quote that says, like, the moment you tell your big dreams to small-minded people, that's your biggest mistake. So a lot of times, like, you know, you tell your dreams to small-minded people, and then they discourage you. In verse 10, he actually starts encouraging people, and he starts telling them, like, hey, like, don't be discouraged. The people were starting to lose strength. They were like, I'm tired, I've been building this wall, like, I'm tired. He was like, hey, don't lose hope. And I think that's important. Like, even as we are leaders or we are assisting other people's dreams, we need to be that people to encourage one another, and to just be like, hey, don't lose hope. Yeah, I see you tired, but like, let's keep the faith, let's keep going. We're almost there. Think of the people who are going to benefit from this educational program. Think of the people that's going to benefit from this refugee program. Think of the people who are going to benefit from this immigrant program. Think about the people who are going to benefit from this food program. Think about that and continue going, keep going. The second last thing that I can take away from the book of Nehemiah, in chapter 5, you see that even after chapter 5, the wall was the city was almost fully fortified, so they were actually accomplishing their goals. And actually, what we learned that Nehemiah was elected as an official in his home country because of what he did. But even as an official, he didn't stop there. Yeah, he fortified the city, but he was like, hey, what other issues are in our country? Like, what else can we help people with? And he realized that there were a lot of poor people, that there were a lot of people that were hungry, that there were a lot of people that were in really dire situations, and the leaders were not helping. And what he did is he went to the leaders, he was like, hey, like, yeah, you guys are doing a good job, you helped me fortify the city, but what about your poor people? What about the people that are paying so much taxes and they can't afford to, like, buy food? And he called them out. He was like, guys, like, you guys have so much money. Why are you not, why are you not distributing this money within the city? And in that time, like, luckily the officials listened to him and they started distributing the money more efficiently. So what we can learn about Nehemiah is that he never stopped there. Yeah, he accomplished his one goal, but he saw there was other needs that he could also help with. And so he went ahead and he also helped with those needs as well. And the final thing that we can learn from Nehemiah, in chapter 7, because of what he did, many more people that were exiled, many more Israelites that were exiled to Babylon started coming back to Jerusalem, which is a city. Many more of them started coming back. And so what we can learn is that a lot of times what we do, we might think it's small, we might think, oh, it's just me doing this, whatever, but a lot of times it inspires people. We become change initiators and change propagators. People are like, oh wow, Nehemiah could do that, oh, let me also go back and build that school. Honestly, I think, like, that is like what, like, the book of Nehemiah just, like, sums up, like, what my mission was for the series I was doing, Diaspora Dialogues, because I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to also provide resources, or actually just examples of other people are doing something that may be similar to what you want to do. And I really hope that you were inspired by this. I really hope that this ignited something within you, and I really hope that you could learn from Nehemiah the way I did. And I can't wait for the future when I announce like what my dreams are and what I want to do, and I'm just hoping that you're willing to come alongside me and just support what we can do back in the continent of Africa, because there's just so much potential and there's so many people that need us to be there. So with that, I'm going to close this series. Thanks again for following the Diaspora Dialogue series. I'm so grateful for you guys. Yes, I really hope that you're inspired the same way I was. If you don't believe what I said, you could read the book of Nehemiah. I think it's a great book. Yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. And the next few videos coming up are going to be super interesting, a little different, but really interesting to what I think that we all should learn about. So please stay tuned for that. And I'll see you in the next video. And come closer and help me get 200 subscribers. Right now I'm at like 185, and so I need 15 people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free of charge. Just go to my channel and hit subscribe. So every year I try to reach a benchmark. Last year I actually reached 100 subscribers, and this year I want to reach 200 subscribers. So I know like these goals may not be, you know, like I'm not a YouTube superstar. I do this, plus I'm a chemical engineering student, so you know I'm managing those two together. But help me get 200 subscribers. Make sure you share and tell people, please. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye bye.